There's 3 different really good ways to hit 50k a month as a coach. I want to get into all 3 of the models, and I'm really curious to read which ones you've tried and which one you are going to try next. Do let me know in the comments. Let's get really straight into it. The first one is the live webinar funnel, right? So what are the elements of this? The first thing we're going to need a sign-up page to advertise our live webinar. And you might frame it as a masterclass, you might do it as a teach-in or a live broadcast or something. And what we found with these sign-up pages, we've tried having Claude Code and Codex create all these really fancy registration pages, and actually we have not been able to beat our Zoom-alike registration page. Literally, I opened up my funnel builder, and I've done this on 2 different page builders so far in the business as we moved between different platforms. And we just opened it up, and I just had a Zoom webinar registration page open on my left monitor, and on my right monitor, I'm building a page that looks exactly like the Zoom registration page. So this page you're looking at right now is actually not the Zoom registration page on Zoom at all. This is a page that's purposely built to look like one. Now, why not just use the Zoom registration page? Well, it means that your contacts are immediately straight into your platform. You've got a lot more control of it. You can do some subtle things that you can't do on Zoom registration pages. But the reason this works so well is because it looks particularly unmarketing-y, right? It doesn't look like we've put a great deal of effort into really hyping you up, selling you the benefits and a big testimonial area and a big chunky bit about the host, all that sort of stuff. It looks really innocent, it looks really casual, and it looks really native. It really reduces the threat alert sirens in people's brains because they go, oh, this is really simple. And of course, Zoom know what they're doing. They have hosted more webinars than you or I ever will, and so they know what actually converts. Now, you'll notice that I do have the Zoom logo right at the very top of the page, and the only reason I'm comfortable with doing that is because when we actually host the webinar, we do host it on Zoom. Okay? So, now, what I want you to do is I want you to, on that webinar, you're going to give some realizations. That's what you have to do on these webinars. Give people a reason to think differently, give them a way to unthink some bad behaviors or things that were keeping them trapped. Show them why the way that they've been trying to solve the problem could not have worked, and it is not their fault. And then you're going to show them why your way has a much greater chance of success and getting better results. And then you're going to make your offer. If it's an offer of up to $1,000, you're going to let people click and buy. If it's higher than $1,000, you're going to ask them to click to book a call, because that's an easy yes on a webinar. Anything above $1,000 in most niches, most markets, is quite tricky to get people to say yes to and just click and buy. So where are all these people going to come from? Good question. So we're going to run ads. We're going to look to spend $25 or more per registration. And we're also going to be able to do a really good job of getting other people who have an audience who would enjoy our content and would buy from us. We're going to have those people promote to their audiences and become our joint venture or affiliate partners. And we're going to pay those people around 30% of every sale that they generate, depending on the price point. So we're going to be getting traffic from our own paid cold ads and from this endorsed traffic that's coming from other people mailing their email list and sharing it on social media. We track all that through a custom link, and we just make sure every single person gets paid. So let's put some numbers on this and see how it actually works. Well, to make 50 grand a month doing this, let's reverse engineer the numbers. We need to get 170 people to register. We're going to get 30% of those people to show up, right? So that's 51 people there live out of our 170 people. So we've got 51 people there live. And by the way, 30% is global industry average right now. Of course, we're going to do everything that we can to increase that. We're going to use email reminders. We're going to use SMS reminders. We're going to really have a really compelling title that makes people really want to show up. But there we are with our 30% as our average show up. That's 51 people there live. 10% of those people are going to be buying. That's what our goal is, 10% or greater. We actually have a webinar that's converted as high as 33%, but that is outrageous. We've really dialed it in, and it doesn't always wash out at 33%. But 10% is the absolute bare minimum, and that's going to give us 5 sales. So 10% of the 51 people who come in is 5 sales. 5 sales at a $5,000 price point is going to give us $25,000. And you do that twice a month, and bingo, you're at 50 grand in a month. Now, what we're looking at here is making this profitable, right? So for those of you who want the grown-up numbers, if you're going to run ads, you absolutely need to know this. To run at 40% profit, which is very, very good, you can pay up to $90 to get each registrant. Yeah, you can pay up to $90 to get each registrant and still be hitting 40% profit. So you're going to need a budget of $90 times 170 registrants, and that is $15,300. That's going to be your advertising budget to hit that number. Now, of course, I'm not saying you need to go from starting doing your very first webinar to spending 15.5 grand on ads. Obviously, that would be ridiculous. So you're going to start with a smaller budget, and of course, you expect the number of sales to reflect that. Although more people on the webinar does often help with more conversions, usually because there's more momentum from the actual group. People going, yes, I'm in, and that gets more people to jump in themselves. So basically, we are looking for 1 or 2 sales. If we had a $5,000 ad budget, we'd be looking for 1 or 2 sales. So it could land at $5,000 break even, or at $10,000 with a 50% profit, depending on if you get 1 or 2 of those sales. You're either going to break even or you're going to have a 50% profit, which is beautiful. Then here's what's awesome is you now have all of those leads that came in. So you don't only have the 25 grand in sales, you've also got 170 subscribers to your list, which now you can follow up with. You can offer them other offers, you can offer them follow-up things, you can get them on sales calls, whatever you want to do. I would recommend that when you do this, you start doing one of these webinars every single week to begin with. And the reason you want to do that is to dial in your webinar faster. When I was standing on stages around the world using psychology and body language and stand-up comedy to make it look like I could read people's minds, the reason I got so good at it so quickly was because I was on stage 3 to 5 nights a week. And that meant every night I would make a little adjustment. I would come off stage, write in my notebook after, having a glass of water or whatever. I would write down in my notebook, oh, this bit worked better. That bit wasn't as funny. I'm going to change it tomorrow night. And the reason I got fast quick was because I was doing it a lot. And that's what I want from you. The faster you can get the reps in, you're going to be able to course correct and tweak that webinar, right? Ideally, you want to do this with 1 or 2 affiliates every single month, and then the other ones are going to be with ads and your own audience. So that is the free webinar funnel, and it works really, really, really well. We've done it very successfully with JV traffic and paid ads. So let's get into model number 2. So that was the live webinar. We're now going to get into this one, which is a call-free high-ticket model. And again, another great way of making $50,000 a month as a coach. So lots of people are advertising these no-call things, right? Like offer documents and Loom videos and all those kind of DM things. No calls, no calls, no calls. Let's just be really honest for a second. The reason they are selling them is because they sound really sexy. They almost sound like an impossible magic trick that we would all love to have. So when you advertise something that sounds so unbelievably dreamy like that, the cost per sale of their mini course that shows you how to do all of this becomes lower and lower and lower, so they are crushing it on their ads. That's why you keep seeing these offers, because they're crushing it on ads. It's not because they actually work. And that's not to say they don't work, but the reason you keep seeing the ads is because they're selling such an incredible dream of an offer. Of course, these offers do work if your audience is warm. And I've sold hundreds of thousands, probably more than $1 million, with Google Docs and DM conversations alone, but to my warm list of buyers. So if you advertise a low ticket thing on your socials and stuff that bring in people who spend up to, say, $100, and then you do stuff that warms them up more, then the funnel becomes this. You run ads to a paid low-ticket thing of, say, up to $100, and that paid low-ticket thing could be a pre-recorded thing, or it could be a live thing, okay? And then we're going to have a 7-day paid trial into a low-ticket membership, so up to $97. What has happened? Well, we're getting somebody not just pay once, but to commit to paying ongoing. And that very commitment of, say, I'm going to pay you for your low ticket membership is a much deeper trust deepener than pretty much anything else you can do. People are then making a commitment. Just a quick word of warning, and from my experience, do not do a 30-day trial. We did it because we wanted to give people a full month's experience for either free or for low cost. And we were like doing the best thing. We were like, get to give people the whole month. And it turns out it was a freaking nightmare because people forgot that they had enrolled in a recurring offer, in a subscription, and people complained and they charged back when we rebuild them. So 7 days of that free or low-cost trial means the initial agreement of joining it was only a week ago, not a full month ago. So now, once you've got some people who've bought your front end and they've joined your membership, which means every month you're going to be stacking up the cash on those are the people who we're going to reach out to with an offer doc or a loom. And in that, we're going to outline the problem that they've got, why it's been a struggle to solve it in the past, and why we've got a unique solution. And of course, a load of proof, because proof's more important than ever these days, because so many people are instant experts because they downloaded some stuff off ChatGPT. And then what we're going to do in that thing is we're going to say, hey, we've got an application form if you think you might want to enroll. We want to see if you're a good fit. Really important that we have an application form here because it makes them feel like they need to earn and prove themselves into being accepted. I remember trying to join a $60,000 coaching mastermind program. And I remember DMing the guy who ran it saying, hey, I'm really not sure if I qualified to join. This is what I'm doing. Please let me in, And the guy was like, do you know what? Because of the situation, because I know who you are, absolutely you can come and join the program. I send the guy 60 grand and then I send him a note saying, thank you. Thank you for letting me spend 60 grand. Well, there was no price resistance from me. Why? Because I felt like I'd earned the ability to get in. So after someone's filled out that application form and showing you why they really want to join, you get all those emotions bubbling up, we're then going to delay for a couple of days, make them wait, only for 1 or 2 days, and then you're going to send out an acceptance email to the people who are a fit. Obviously, anybody who's not a fit, you want to be legit. You want to say, no, you're not a fit. Really important thing is when you send out that acceptance email, there needs to still be a sense of scarcity. We don't want that to have worn off. So here's a great example of how you do that when you're following up with these people who've applied. So you say basically, hey, good news and bad news. The good news, out of 188 applications, you are one of the 38 who we are inviting into the program. Notice the specificity of that, and we're also showing the contrast between the number of people who applied, 188, and the 38 who are a fit. You're saying, we have discarded some people. Of course, that needs to be true. Then we're going to go into actually squeezing some scarcity in this with a bit of psychology for you, and that is where you say, the bad news, there are only 10 spaces available. So we've told them that we've already filtered down from 188 to 38 people who are accepting, and then we said, but there's only 10 spaces available. So that means 28 of you are not going to get in. And then we want to make sure it's what's called a shit sandwich, as my dad used to say, where you say a good thing, a bad thing, a good thing, so we don't leave them with a bitter taste in their mouth. We say, so the bad news, there are only 10 spaces available. The good news again, it is first come, first served. Here's the link to take one of the remaining seats. Really, really powerful way of getting people to jump and emotionally want to engage. Now, the negative of this is that it is a longer game to get them into that higher ticket offer, as it really needs someone to make it through all of those steps. And of course, only maybe 20% of people will upgrade to the high ticket. But if your initial offer and your membership are dialed in, they will pay for all of your ads, and your high ticket offer is all profit in your pocket. Now it's time for number 3. Way number 3 to make 50 grand a month as a coach, and this is what's called a VSL funnel. And VSL stands for Video Sales Letter, or sales video, right? If doing something live is just not for you, right? You don't want to do a live masterclass or a live webinar, then one of these 2 different video sales letter funnels could be great. So there's 2 very different ones. I want to make sure you've got them both. So VSL is a sales video. It was invented by my friend John Benson, who we used to be in a mastermind in. We used to fly to Florida and Puerto Rico to hang out together, to be members of this mastermind. So which means I know a lot about how VSLs work. I've basically spent a lot of time with the GOAT, the master, the original guy, right? So these sales videos work for low ticket if you want to sell 1,000 $50 things each month. But they also work really well for high ticket if you want to sell 10 $5,000 things. The only difference is lower price, they can just click and enter their payment details now and get instant access usually. But above $1,000, the action you're going to ask them to take, just like we talked about in the webinar section, is that at the end of the VSL, the end of the sales video, they're going to book a call with you or your sales team, and the sale actually happens on the call. So that's how the model works. So there's 2 different versions. The first one is called the open door VSL, and the funnel looks like this. You run your ads to a landing page with the sales video on the landing page, and then the video will be around 12 minutes or under usually, and usually this is for a lower ticket thing, but it's worth testing to the book a call thing as well. And the really important thing here is when someone lands on that landing page, and there's usually a headline with the big promise to grab them and make them go, oh yes, I'm in the right place from where I clicked on the ad, this is what I wanted. There's the video, and that's pretty much it. There might be a link to your terms and conditions along the bottom or a disclaimer, but that's pretty much it. There absolutely is not a button to click and buy or a button to book a call. You want to delay the appearance of the button where the call to action is until the point in the video when you actually mention the price. This way, when the person clicks from the meta ad and they land on the page, it doesn't look like anything is for sale, which lowers people's guard. It makes them think, oh, I'm going to actually pay attention to this video. And the smartest way to do this, by the way, as well, is to have a bit of technology set up on that page so that if a person comes back to the page again, it's not their first time on the page, the button is already there, so you're not forcing people to watch the whole of the video again. So you do want to have it so when the page loads, the button to take the next step, the book a call or to buy the thing, is hidden until the point in the video that you make the offer and tell them the price. So that's version 1. The second version is called the closed door VSL. And the way this one works is quite different. You're going to run ads to a landing page with a headline and then a place for them to enter their name and their email address and answer one qualifying question in order to gain free access to the video. So they're actually going to sign up. They're going to put their name and email address in to get access to the sales video. The advantage of doing this is it's way less friction. It's less of an ask for someone clicking an ad to take the first step and give you their email address and then watch a 10-minute video when they were expecting to just click and watch the video. Because if someone clicks in version A, which is the open door, they click and they're like, hey, now you're going to watch a 10-minute video. They weren't planning on sitting watching a video right now. They were just scrolling through their newsfeed looking at lovely pictures, right, of other people's holidays and being very jealous. When they click and they see a way to opt in, you're now taking them to a step of commitment. And of course, you've now got their email address so you can follow up with them and send them back to the video and to other stuff. And also, when someone opts in, the VSL can actually be longer because they've made this extra micro commitment. But it is still worth testing the open door as well, as sometimes that additional level of friction can actually kill the sale and stop people from opting in or even watching the video. It's definitely worth testing those. So you've got 3 different ways there. Now, what I want to show you now is the 3 non-sales emails that I send before every promotion that makes every promotion that I do absolutely crush. And you can go and see that by watching this video in full right now.